All right, everybody. I may have to stop to admit some additional people, but hopefully that won't be too disruptive. But welcome. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Tally Walsh, the director of the National Cyber League. We do these coaches calls every month, and we try to make it interesting. So this one is May 24th, and then we move on to the agenda, which you should have received in your email. So the big news for today, let's start out with that, is the announcement of the incoming National Cyber League Commissioner and Coaches Committee, which we'll get to in a minute. So there is a press release. It is actually on the NCL website under our news section. We'll talk about the transition stage that we're going through right now for the National Cyber League. I want to introduce to you the Coaches Committee and their goals and how they're going to be working with you all. We want to do a very short poll and then make sure that you do sign up for the Slack channel and then some materials to help with fall recruitment and a discussion. The discussion doesn't have to end, be right at the end. Anytime you want to put something in the chat or interrupt the conversation, please feel free to do so. So with that, I'd like to move to our Appreciation Award for Commissioner Dan Manson. Dan, are you on? I hope he's been able to join.
Doesn't look like he's on yet.
Well, we'll have to come back to him then. Hold on.
Is he knocking on the door?
Let me see. Admit all.
Yeah, there he is.
Dan! Perfect
Hey, Dan.
timing. Can you see my screen? Dan?
And currently you are in the edit mode also. So we're seeing the side panel as well as the screen.
Yeah. Let me present.
Oh, yes, that's good.
Much better.
Right. I see it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
I
So
really
Dan, you know, we wanted to do something a little bit special for you for this coaches meeting. You've been a great guiding light for us, and I think we'd love to say a few words of appreciation, but this is your virtual certificate of appreciation with great appreciation to Commissioner Dan Manson for your 4 years of unwavering commitment to the National Cyber League as a way to help students have fun while achieving cybersecurity knowledge. And I didn't include the word sports in there, but we all know Dan and we know how he loves his sports. And Costas, did you have a few words that you wanted to say?
I do. If you do me the favor, allow me to share my screen. So I thought to myself, first of all, how long have I known Dan Manson, this guy? What about the National Cyber League and Dan Manson? So I'm a weird guy because I never erase Gmails. I've gotten my Gmails from 2007. So I went back and I found this Gmail. It's from Dan Manson to some of the organizers. And it says, from Dan Manson, the vision of the National Cyber League. I want you guys to hear this because it's amazing how he's managed to achieve it over 10 years, not just 4, to provide a fun, realistic, hands-on educational experience for students to hone their cybersecurity skills through simulation exercises and competitions in a way that's media friendly and available to general population, improving the awareness of cybersecurity. And then there's all sorts of missions and goals that I put down because I'm kind of the thinking guy. But this vision of Dan's from 2011, 10 years ago, is still true today. He has managed to bring the ship over 10 years to exactly what he thought about back in 2011. So Dan, you're my friend, and we'll continue to be friends, and we'll continue to run the National Cyber League company. But it's amazing what you've been able to do, and you've done it with a smile. You've done it with collaboration.
Maybe go in the parking lot up there.
And that's about it. So I look forward to many more years of your contribution to the National Cyber League, and I'm sure David does as well.
I do. Sorry about that.
That's it.
Thank you, Costas. It's been an honor and a privilege to work with you. I have learned so much from you about taking a vision and executing. So thank you. I really appreciate your friendship, your mentorship, and getting a chance to do something with you.
Yeah, we have fun.
So everybody, big round of applause for
Yay.
our Dan. Thank you, Dan. We really appreciate
Yay.
you.
Thank you. I want to tell you, when I moved out to Las Vegas, what I was telling the dean's office, I made a promise to the dean's office that I would have cyber competitions on the Strip within 5 years. In addition to making it a sport, I want it to be entertainment. And because I'm in Vegas, I want it to be a cash game. And we are moving in that direction, believe it or not. The SoCal Cyber Cup yesterday, if you get a chance to listen to the recording, you'll see what it's like to call a game like a sport, which was the Cyber Skyline game. And the teams did get cash awards. But we can really make this something people love to watch as well as play. And I hope to stay involved and help guide it that way.
Thank you, Dan. And then on to the next portion is, we've said thank you to Dan, and we're now welcoming David Zeichick. David, I see you don't have a last name here, but everybody knows
okay.
who you are. But here is David's bio information. And David, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, sure, of course. I apologize if I'm going in and out, but as you can see, I'm in a very mobile office at the moment, a little unplanned trip, but I guess that's the right? I can still do this. So, yeah, I met Dan, I would say probably about 10 years ago. That sounds right, Dan. And he did talk to me about the whole concept of a cyber athlete, and I just thought that was genius. And I bought in on that, and haven't really looked back. I've been super happy with the NCL and all of the success and fun that it's brought to my students over the years, and therefore also made my program look really good as well. So it's been nice to be able to participate. And Dan, I definitely want to make sure you know how much and I'm sure all of us appreciate everything that you have created with the NCL, and I appreciate you, passing this on.
Thank you, David. And we share someone who is special to both of us. So I really appreciate everything that Ron Pike has done for you. And I know that you have looked up to him as a mentor over the years. I'm just so fortunate we have him at Cal Poly now. But he's meant a lot to both of us.
Well, great. So welcome aboard, David. David has been involved, as you know, for so many years with NCL. I think he'll be a great fit for helping us as the next commissioner. And with that, let me move on to what is happening at NCL and NCL transitions. So we have both Franz and Toby on the line. And Franz, if you would start us off and give everybody a preview of what's coming up.
Sure. So I'm not sure how many of you all are familiar with kind of the internal structure on what's going on behind the scenes, but we're currently in a transition where operational responsibility for the competition is going to be, before it was kind of split between NCL Inc. and Cyber Skyline Inc. And now it's going to be the primary responsibility of Cyber Skyline. What this means for you kind of like on a day-to-day basis, not much. It's going to be kind of like business as usual. But what's going on behind the scenes is that this is kind of allowing us to streamline a lot of processes because we are able to, coordinate against with fewer people to deliver the experience. And so what we're trying to do right now is expand the offering that we have, both kind of in, from like an educational perspective in terms of what learning resources we're providing through NCL, and as well as what feature set we're going to have in terms of like management and operations. And so we have some planned changes to improve your actual experience of going through NCL, building better dashboards and the like. But I'll give you a quick preview in terms of what we're trying to do with education. So we've heard a lot of feedback of people wanting access to like a longer duration of the gym, people wanting more learning resources. And so we're currently in the process of right now making available for free year long a lot of the gym resources and additional learning, fundamental resources, so that you can better align your classes to what NCL is. There's still going to be some challenges which are more costly for us to maintain and run, that are going to have to be time restricted for the duration of the NCL season. But we're hoping that by allowing you to have all these resources, 24/7, that makes it a lot easier for you to plan, your syllabus, your classes, and to get your students involved, no matter what your academic calendar looks like. Toby, do you have anything to add?
None in particular right now. Like Franz said, what we're trying to do is just make sure that students have more access to these resources, as that's what we've been hearing from both the student side of the house and also on the coaches side of the house. And really with, what Tally is doing here with the coaches calls every month here, we're really looking for additional feedback on how we can improve both the NCL experience and also the NCL games for everybody that's involved here. So you all as faculty, coaches, and our stakeholders in this as well. So we're really looking forward to working with everybody to better the games on a going forward basis.
Great. Well, any questions from the group? A lot is happening, and it will continue to happen over the summer. So you'll probably be seeing news about this, that, and the other, but this is just kind of a heads up. Hey, we're transitioning, lots of good things coming. If you've got any questions, feel free to ask them.
I should tell you one thing I forgot to mention, now that I'm remembering. There is one thing that might change for you if you are doing a purchase order for NCL season. Your point of contact will be changing for that. So previously, all of those purchase orders were going to cost us. They'll be going to Cyber Skyline now, and we're going to send out a notification over the summer to help you transition if you need like new vendor forms and stuff like that, to make sure that you're well prepared for the fall season with registration.
I have a question.
Okay.
Yeah, so are we going to be able to start incorporating some competition at the high school level? I didn't know if you did say that. I apologize. I didn't hear.
So NCL is available to high school students. I think the only requirement is that they be 13 or older.
Right, I understand. So do they compete as the Wild, or are they going to be different divisions? Is what I guess I was alluding to.
Toby, do you have anything for that?
Yes. So in the fall, what we're going to do actually, so I understand the question a little bit better now, actually, after clarification there. In the fall, we're actually going to have a process for coaches to basically confirm their team members for the high school level, because at the college level, we have access to Department of Education databases for it. Evidently not a good one exists for every single high school in the country, since accreditation happens on a state by state level.
So we're trying to identify like a good way for us to just verify that these are all the correct high school students for a given high school, and we are indeed planning on starting up a separate high school leaderboard, along with some additional new ways for it, particularly new members into the National Cyber League to be better ranked and to better encourage the students on competing in the games itself. But yes, high school leaderboard is definitely one of those changes that we'll be introducing.
Yes, so I'd like to add to that. Thank you. That's good to know, because I've actually been one of the very first classes who was allowed to use NCL for my high school students. I've been doing that for several years now, but as a familiarization and supporting the Cyber Patriot program. So when I get to understanding how you can validate, because it is a good complement to the Cyber Patriot program. Cyber Patriot doesn't go, this program is awesome. It actually gets into different functional areas where the Cyber Patriot program really sticks at the hardening of system level and some network security stuff, where this one goes a lot in the other functional areas. So it does provide experience and exposure to these high school students to figure out where they want to go into the career when they go to the next level. So that's awesome to hear. An idea for validating that is the coach having to put a POC at the school, that so you have a school email, and let that POC, administrative POC, validate that the team is authorized. So that way you at least have a check and balance. That's how they do it in Cyber Patriots, and that's a way that you could possibly do it with this as well. And if you ever want to reach out on how that, I have no problem communicating that. Like I said, I've been doing this for a while with the teams, doing both, using NCL and Cyber Patriot, and trying to make sure we deconflict the competitions simultaneously as well. So it's been fun.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, I definitely will be reaching out.
I have a question about homeschoolers, because both my NCL team and my Cyber Patriot team are homeschooling teams. So if you're using some sort of like third party, like how would that work for the homeschooling team?
We have homeschooling teams also being considered as well. So that'll basically just be a verification check from the faculty coach that registers for the homeschool there.
Thank you.
This is Curtis Coleman from Oklahoma Christian University. We have homeschoolers that join our college team, and we register them. They're registering along with my college students. So are we wanting in the future to designate separating those, or can I continue to incorporate them into my teams?
So teams have no impact on what schools you're from. You can actually have multi-school teams. In fact, the team that won this past spring season was a multi-school team from a number of different University of California schools and some here on the East Coast as well. So there's absolutely no restrictions to that to begin with, and there will continue to not be restrictions on the team composition with respect to schools.
And I'm seeing a few questions in the chat. Let's see here. Do high schoolers get a scouting report from Janet?
Yes, they already do, and they will continue doing so as well. The only requirement for the scouting report is that they actually do, in fact, participate in the actual NCL itself, meaning participating either in the individual game and or the team game. There will be a scouting report provided for the individual game, and there will be a separate one provided for the team game, and provided that they do actually participate in those. If they don't participate, nothing gets created for them.
And as a quick add-on, for those of you who didn't join us in the last coaches call, we have dropped the requirement for preseason to be required for a scouting report. So preseason is now kind of just an optional thing if your students want a practice game, but they can just do the individual game without doing preseason and still get a scouting report.
And then another question from Pete. For future seasons, will Cyber Skyline be able to offer refunds for unused codes?
Currently, the whole reason why that doesn't happen is the absolute enormous amount of effort that we would need to go through to verify everything, and then to be able to process those things. Dr. Torrega's here will be able to tell you what an absolute administrative nightmare it is to process refunds and things like that when you have 600 some schools that are participating in this, and then some schools may make like 5 different orders and whatnot. It doesn't scale very well for us to do those things at the current time. That process isn't changing at all. Like with this, the registration flow is going to stay the same. None of that changes at all. So the same burden still maintains with respect to the refund process there. So right now we don't. And with NCL, the price we've tried to keep it, and this is both NCL and also Cyber Skyline, we've mutually agreed to keep it at $35 without raising it due to whatever new costs that may arise. So in the years past, we've added things like Linux into the games and whatnot, the built-in terminals. That does incur costs, but we don't want to raise it so that students can still choose to participate in it without forking over like $150 for, like, you know, one of those Pearson labs and whatnot. And there are small amounts of set aside funds that we have available for students who cannot afford the payments as well, and that they should get in touch with Dr. Tregas actually as well. And he'll be able to provide some additional information on that.
One thing also to add to that is that we are exploring possibilities for more structured agreements with schools. And one of those possibilities was, would we be able to basically have an agreement, a contract for a set number of codes consistently per season, and then give the school a discount for that level of commitment. And so if you have a discount, that might be something that might offset, you know, the need for refund. Obviously, if you have a lot of students who aren't using it, then that's a separate problem. But if it's like 1 or 2 students here or there, that might be something. And I'd be curious to hear if that would be useful, if we could basically set, hey, you know, 20, 30 students a season, and we give a small discount for that. And then that way, maybe it makes a little bit less headache with the paperwork as well. But that's something to consider. We're exploring that a little bit further. If anyone else on the call would be interested in setting something up like that for their school, we'd love to hear that feedback as well, because you know, we're always trying to explore how can we make it as easy as possible, especially when dealing with the finances for you to participate in NCL.
Yeah, and telling me just very briefly, we're going to be meeting, the NCL team is going to be meeting in a couple of months to kind of do some strategy setting for the next few years. And if you as coaches have some ideas in this area, would love to hear from them, from you all. It's tough, and as Franz said, it's a balance, keeping the registration fee low, and at the same time, in other words, automate as many of the functions as we can. And as soon as you put a human being in there and you start poking keys and so on, you're delaying the process, you're adding cost to it. And one of the things that we've tried to do is allow NCL to scale. So we need to be kind of sensitive to that. But if you've got ideas, love to hear them, and how to move forward. Again, NCL is always learning, and we're always changing things. I just want to underline also, Toby mentioned it, that the Cyber Skyline will be now managing the operations of the game. NCL Inc., the organization, will continue to support scholarships and other kind of special needs of our constituency. So again, early on, let us hear how we might be able to impact. We began 2 years ago with an HBCU, Historically Black Colleges and Universities Fund, to sponsor kids from HBCUs that could not afford the NCL. And much to the credit of the faculty in HBCUs, many of them paid the full fare because they could afford it, either through their department or through grants, but some could not. So NCL is available to provide support for needy students. And so we want to hear from you. We want to hear from the coaches. Thank you.
And Janet, so I saw in your chat message that you plan on adding this as part of your Security Pro class. Could you tell us what you're currently dealing with, what that experience is, what you need from us, maybe perhaps?
Sure. I'm obviously going to be new to NCL, but from what I read about it, this is our second year of a 4-year dual enrollment cybersecurity program at the high school level. And I have 19 kids going into my 3rd year. We're doing Security Pro and Ethics. And I really wanted to give them something since they're not able to be in a good internship. And that's like pulling teeth with companies at their age. I thought because you have the scouting report, because there's so much more detail, we're going to do Cyber Patriot next year too. But I just like the idea of the tracking and maybe something a little bit more tangible for them to have. And I was going to incorporate that into the class, like Fridays or, whatever the case may be, but give them access to this specifically, rope that into my class so that they not only have the knowledge, but again, it's about the KSAs and giving them that skills and abilities and something a little bit more tangible to walk out with.
Great. Any comments from the group? Offers to help? Buddy systems?
Yeah, hey, Janet, this is Doc. I'm from Georgia. I'm going to send you a link to where the Department of Defense has internships for high school students. So let me find that link and I'll put it in the chat for you. Hopefully that helps you out.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Hey, Janet, this is Tim again. Yeah, I'm actually working with the school district right now as we're incorporating the cybersecurity program, cybersecurity into the curriculum, even at the middle school level, and figuring out how do we progressively get to this kind of level. So I'm looking at the same, we're actually going to be meeting with the school district over the summer and finalizing that. I'm hosting one of the summer camps this year. And so they're going to come and see all that. So it sounds like you're familiar with the Cyber Patriot. So love to have collaborative discussions with you as well. It sounds like you're doing the same thing where you're taking this to provide more experience and exposure at the proper level for when they graduate. And I think that's awesome. So I definitely would love to continue to figure some synergy around the community here. So, and not that this is a Cyber Patriot conversation on this call, but it's leveraging the NCL. What you guys have done here has been awesome, and it's taken it to the next level for our students. And so looking forward to continuing to champion that.
Great, and we welcome ideas, suggestions, questions. As you get familiar with the Slack channel, that would be a great place for us to have conversations in between these calls as well. So I see Karen raised a hand. Is that?
Hi, yes, it's Karen Woodard. Hi there, thank you.
Hi, hi.
Hey, Timothy, this is Karen Woodard. I teach at SUNY Adirondack in upstate New York. I do Cisco Academy. And I really have been grateful for this NCL, especially during COVID. I've been watching this for a while, and I've incorporated this as the project in my CEH class. But I also teach in our early college career academy. Can I be looped in with what you and Jackie are doing? Because I had a 19-year-old who actually has achieved a ton of certs. He worked with me on his side with security, and now has got a major job in security in the country. But I'd like to do a more formal process, and I'd like to, may I be chirping in on what you're doing or chime in with what you're doing to hear what your process has been to formalize this for the middle school, the high school? I've been trying for years to build something at the middle school.
Yeah, I have no problem. And once again, I'm not trying to reinvent any wheel. I think the Cyber Patriot program has that stuff that talks at the middle and the high school level. It's how do you get it incorporated into the curriculum part, right? And so that's kind of where I've been working a little bit harder. In the state of Texas, there's actually was a bill that was approved in the and now the schools can actually pick from a cybersecurity curriculum modular type, format. And so what I'm trying to do is use that program, but then use these as how do you validate how they're, it's a club, right? Cybersecurity club. And so what are you doing to capitalize that learning? And these are the type of programs I think that are available to help capitalize on those learning, to see that they're actually getting stuff out of it. Or is the information, is it, one of my arguments, and I hope I don't insult the education community when I say this, sitting behind a desk and listening to instructors is one thing, but actually doing something tangible that gives you real life experience is a whole nother ball game. And I think that's what these programs do, so that they actually really are ready to get behind a keyboard and actually do the job, which that's what I expect when I look for an employee, is that they actually can do the job. And I'm still here. Did I fade out? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Yeah. So I definitely rope you in as well. So I just want, I don't want to say, hey, I've actually cornered the market on this. I'm just trying to make it useful, and figure out how we can, ironing sharpening iron and make this better, in our
Absolutely.
little area of, influence. Right. Yep. So I want to make sure I get the people's notes, because I'll put you guys on my cross communication immediately.
Yeah, because I do a cyber essentials that I give out to the high schools, and I agree with you. And that's what I love about the NCL. I did not have time to rebuild a wheel nor manage all these VMs, and everything I do is hands-on. So that's why I like the Cyber Patriot, but I can only do it at the high school, and I'm trying to get my high schools to build so that they feed me, and then we get them in this NCL. My club is doing the NCL as well as my class. They got so excited over it. So kudos to the NCL too, in Cyber Skyline. But it's nice, we have to build the processes across the board. So thank you.
It's a good time to also mention the Slack channel opportunity, right, Tally?
Yes, that's a great way for us to get started, even to start talking about that. I'll also invite you to a Google Drive so we can start compiling, help materials, and people can have access to those. So, okay, great. Well, this has been a good discussion. Really glad you jumped in. I do want to introduce our brand new coaches committee. We just met for the first time today. And so this has been established to have a sort of a smaller committee that is helping to provide recommendations and guidance in addition to this group, but also to provide a leadership structure for this group and our broader community of coaches. And so you can see the people who are on the committee. Many of them are on this call as well. Bob Burke, who I met through our program with HBCUs. Bob, are you on this call? Doesn't look like it. Eric Chanton, who has been involved with our player and coach ambassadors. And I believe I saw Eric on here. Yes.
Yep.
Curtis Coleman, who missed our last meeting.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that was my fault, I think.
It's okay. I won't have any issue anymore.
And then Ben Doherty, who's here, Stephen Miller, who's been involved for many years. Most of you probably know him. Aurelia Donald, who is also at an HBCU and had some great ideas to help kids get to level 1. Chris Simpson, who probably hasn't been able to make it. He's probably exhausted from the SoCal meeting. Doc St. Clair. Doc, are you on? I believe. Yes.
Yep, I'm right here.
Right there. Alan Stubblefield, who's also with the high school, and then David, our brand new commissioner, has joined. So their goals are threefold, somewhat broad, but to enhance the students' competition experience and learning potential through recommendations and guidance to the NCL team, to help NCL grow in numbers of players, coaches, and participating schools. So we'll be talking quite a lot about ways to help students and coaches to join NCL and ways to reach them You know, what are the marketing aspects that need to be in place for us to be able to reach new coaches and students who don't know about us? And then finally, to provide the leadership structure. So welcome to the new Coaches Committee. Any thoughts from the committee or from anybody else?
Callie, can you give, maybe not you, but Cyber Skyline, an estimate, like how many coaches are there in the NCL community today? Is it like 100, 500? What's a good number?
Yeah, very good question, Costas there. So in totality, we have about 650 different colleges and universities all over the country, spanning pretty much every single state, covering also District of Columbia, Puerto Rico as well. We even have one as far out as a military base in Japan. So that's sort of the extent of the coverage there. We also have, on average, every season about 400 and change faculty members participate in the NCLs in some capacity or the other. Some faculty members are there to buy the club some pizza. Some faculty members really get their hands and get their hands dirty along with the students as well. So, but yeah, every single season we see about 400 and change of those faculty members that participate in the NCL with us.
Great. And that underlines the need to have some kind of a committee to help steer, and also to make it possible for the hundreds of coaches to reach out to someone nearby geographically or nearby in terms of the vertical that you're all serving. Thank you.
Okay, great. So moving right along, one of the things I did want to do today is to run through some materials that you have access to. I will make them available to you after this call on the Google Docs. So you'll see here, obviously, the fall season dates, registration opening in August. Here is a flyer, a one-page flyer that you can distribute to students, and a one-page coach flyer, which doesn't have dates on it. It basically explains why you would want to participate. I'll be happy to send those after the meeting so that you can read them in detail. Also, I'm really excited to let you know that there is an NCL video. It's only a minute and a half, and it doesn't at this point have music, but it's going to have music. So I'm quickly going to play it for you.
If there's audio, it's not coming across.
No, it doesn't yet have audio. It will, though, soon.
So this is karaoke. We can sing to it.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Or ad lib. What's
So
that?
this
What
is
do I see?
something, as you can see, you know, it's very much in the same theming as our website. And it's meant to attract, obviously, a student younger audience with a superhero theme. But it pretty much has just a glimpse of everything that NCL has to offer, including the various different aspects of the game, the fact that you can do it at home, and all you need to do is click on and of course pay, but it also talks about the scouting report. So we will provide that broadly as soon as it's ready. I just wanted to give you guys a brief opportunity to see what we have coming.
When will that be available? Do you have any idea?
Very soon.
Okay.
Where,
Well,
do you have a need for it today?
not today, but on June 17th, I'm part of the Gen Cyber camp, where I'll be talking about NCL to teachers. And so I'm actually working on my presentation.
Fantastic.
As we speak. So
It'll be way before then. It'll be, you know, I dare say it'll be ready by next week.
Okay. So
I'm probably going to get my head chopped off by Toby for that, but I'm daring to say.
Well, thank you both.
The other thing to mention is that, you know, as you're trying to put together materials and presentations, we do have some great stats on the website about NCL in the annual report and in an infographic. And we actually have a modular presentation ready for you as well. I'll quickly run through that because you can mix and match and use it however you need to. It's got the 9 challenge categories, as you can see. It's got benefits to students listed, benefits to schools and coaches listed, benefits to partners, anybody who would like to partner with NCL. And then it's got a run through of the various different stats. So this perhaps is exactly what you were looking for in terms of things that you can add into your presentation.
That would be helpful. And where did you say I can get that?
This I can provide tomorrow.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. All right. Any questions on that? Okay, so that actually completes the presentation part of the meeting. Next call, we promise we'll get the link correct, is in June 28th. And you know, before we end, which we're ending early, amazingly enough, but before we end, what would people like to be discussing in our next call in June? Do you have ideas on specific areas? One of the things that we're really diving into right now is how to help coaches to integrate the NCL games into their syllabus, into their curriculum for the fall. You know, obviously it's not too early. Many of you have already done that. But how can we really reach out to coaches and help them with that? So any thoughts on that? And actually, I did want to run a quick poll. So let me put this poll out there, give you a couple minutes to look at it.
Callie, if I could add something to what you were saying about incorporating it into the curriculum. I also wanted to discuss at some point in time, talking about how to add NCL gym challenges as labs in a class.
I'm sorry, David, the last part, I missed the last part.
You know, very attractive to other professors out there of, hey.
David, the question was how, the idea was how we would add NCL gyms. We're not able to hear you. You're on mute.
Yeah, I think my connection's unstable.
Can you try again?
He said how to add the gyms to labs, so therefore the gyms become worth, you know, not just there for exercising, but there as part of a meaningful effort. You know, it's available, and make it part of a lab in your curriculum. I think that's what he was trying to say. Is that pretty close?
So this is Curtis Coleman, and what I've done is I've mapped the gymnasium categories into labs that go back to Security Plus type of labs. And I got that material from Crypto Kate early on and started doing that 2 years ago. I think that that's a doable thing for everybody.
And I actually ask the coaches that are on the call here, if y'all have any material in terms of how you are using the gym, if you are comfortable with sharing that, of course, to please share that with us in the NCL Coaches channel on Slack. There is one thing that we are going to be doing is updating some of the gym challenges in this upcoming fall. We will provide you all with basically like a migration path, if you will, right? Most of the challenges will still continue to be there. We are, however, removing a couple of them and then adding in a number of them as well to replace some of the older, I guess, like more stale challenges in the gym there. So I just want to make sure that we are accounting for how everybody is using the gym challenges here. So if you're comfortable sharing those, please do.
Yeah, Toby.
Or if you want to, go ahead. Sorry.
One of the things I would recommend is that you have a coach's manual by step, because when the student gets to an answer and they don't even understand that answer, it's difficult for coaches to be able to go through and explain. And then we have to log in and go look at it individually, step by step. A coach's manual would be very useful.
So what I actually do that on my own, because I don't have I'm not a professor. I do this as volunteer work, and I actually create that. I go through each one of those exercises by myself. So therefore, all of my lessons when I meet with them after school are based off of, where do they need help? So I can walk them through those hard ones and understanding the answer. And then I do a check on learning, because sometimes they click the how to and then you found out that they just put the answers in there. So I actually do a check on learning on some of those just to validate that they actually did follow through. So I incorporate both of those in there into my after school sessions that I run.
Karen, thank you for the chat notification. Would you care to comment on this course?
Hi, sure. Yeah, it's my, I base it off the EC Council curriculum, Certified Ethical Hacker curriculum. And so it kind of maps nicely to that one too. So I have the students have already in a prior class created a virus or something like that and put it through a sim. And so this is a capstone at the end of the 2 years. And it's 30% of their grade. And I have very specifics on the 9 assignments. So when they're doing the individual team, they have to do a specific breakdown of how they thought through it, not just to did it, but to think through their processes. And then they do it for the individual and the team. Then the preseason, the gym, they actually have to do a very thorough lab report of how they analyzed and how they fared in so many categories I require of every. They have to do all 9 categories and different levels of each to present. And then they each pick a topic and they present a demonstration of how you would solve a concept at the end of the semester. And I actually put that as part of a test. The presentation was a test grade, whereas all the other reports were part of their project grade.
Fantastic. Perhaps maybe after the semester starts again, we can have some of your students come and make a presentation for the group.
They all just graduated, that they're getting the next group excited, but I'm sure they would come back and do that. And they all got jobs. So
fantastic.
Yeah, they're very, I mean, really, when you get that NCL report and it brings them to a new, that hands-on, as Tim was mentioning, is just so critical and everything you expose them to. But I'm sure several will be willing to even come back at any point because they're just a great group of students I have right now.
That's great. Wonderful. Oh, and David Zeichick just posted the outline for his first few weeks of class. David, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
As long as I'm not too choppy.
Yeah, you're okay right now.
Okay, I won't put video on. So yeah, what I have is pretty much aligned with the categories. So I go through each category week by week Some categories I combine into weeks. And what I have listed there is not only the category I cover, but also some of the tools that I introduce as well, which are helpful in the NCL challenges. So yeah, Tali, thanks for bringing that up. I know I presented this, I think, in one of the coaches calls last year. So I think I've talked through some of this once before. So feel free to ask about any questions about any of those tools. All those tools I have listed there are either open source or have some sort of free period to use them. I think that the only one that has the free period to use it is the Splunk one.
Very
but
nice.
all the others are open source and free.
Fantastic. All right.
I love
last
that
thoughts?
you use over the wire as part of this. That's awesome. I use the same for them because it's a real good free way to challenge that command line interface.
I agree. We use it also.
Great. Well, with that, I think we'll call it a day. Have a great rest of the day and a great month. And we'll see you hopefully June. Make sure I've got the date right, 28th, with the correct link in the email. And feel free to reach out to me at any time. I'll also invite you all to the Slack channel, and let's get the conversation going there. And again, Dan, thank you so much for all your years of support.
Hey,
Thank you,
I did.
Kelly.
Yeah, Dan, you've been awesome. I tell you, moving this program and helping keep it going. So thank you as well.
Thank you.
Last question?
You're gonna make
Yeah,
Dan cry now.
I did add a channel request. I don't know if that's the place to do it. Because I agree. I was on Slack a second ago and I tried to create that channel, but I think that'd be a great channel to start those conversations that are strictly just a high school level one. And it's a high school level that for coaches, because you got the coaches, but then probably not, create some.
So maybe split it out. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. So I put one on there called NCL-coaches-high school high school whatever, high schoolers, whatever. I didn't maintain the same naming convention, but just incorporated the two.
Great. Okay. Thank you. All right. Well, thanks a lot, everybody. See you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.